Hello and welcome back to Basic Yoga. Today we are going to move in towards the three different warrior poses, warrior 1, 2, and 3. And we will stretch the adductors, the side of the body, and out through the arms and the hands. And this practice would go really well together with a yin yoga practice that I have here on YouTube that is for the kidney meridian. So we will target the kidney meridian with our warrior preparation poses and our warrior poses today. And we will also call it basic yoga into warrior poses. So however you'd like to use this practice, it will have a great effect and it will move energy around, and it will leave us feeling invigorated and relaxed all at the same time. So let's take a comfortable seat onto our yoga mat, on a blanket or on a block. And just sit nice and tall on your sit bones. Taking a couple of nice deep breaths together. You might close your eyes to soften the outer layers. Staying nice and strong in the inner body. And gently bringing the hands together in front of the heart. Taking an Om together as a beginning of our journey into our warrior poses, clearing the energy around us, clearing the energy within, and clearing the pathway for our practice today with an Om. Let's take a nice big inhale. And exhale, hands, open the eyes, and let's come to a supine form, laying onto our backs, and clear any yoga toys from your yoga mat. And from here, take yourself all the way down onto the back, bringing the knees into the chest, and make circles onto the sacrum. One way about 3 times, and the other way around. And I'm breaking up any adhesions, any stagnation, so that we can open our pathways. And then we'll take that right leg in towards the chest, knee to chest. Extend your left leg forward, back of the head on the floor, or if you need to, you take a blanket there if it feels too tight. Knee to chest. And switching to your second side, left knee to chest. Extending your right leg. Breathing. And switching again, taking your right leg in, knee to chest, and extending your right leg up towards the sky. Hands around the hamstrings. Give yourself a few breaths right here. Clearing the back of the legs. And then taking that right leg into a figure 4 with your right ankle over your left knee. Hands around the hamstrings or hands below the knee, whichever feels like a great idea for your hip flexors, for the rotators on the right side. Doing our best to sink down the whole backside on the body. Breathing. You can even push in that right ankle in towards your left, above your knee area, and get a little bit more feedback in towards the right outer hip. And slowly release the hands. Take your left foot to the floor, cross your right knee over your left, so we still have the right leg on the top. Take your self into a supine twist with your legs one on top of the other, squeezing the midline of the legs, hugging the adductors, arms out to the side, Enjoying a nice twist in towards the right side of the waist, the lower back area. And gently take it back up. Undo your legs, hug them into the chest. Switch sides, left knee in towards the chest. And extend your left leg to the sky, hands around the hamstrings. Pressing your hands in towards your leg. Breathing into any of the tight areas. And from here, move your way into figure 4 stretch with your left ankle over your right knee. Hands around the hamstrings. Press your left ankle in towards your right knee. And from here, take your hands around it may be below your knee if it feels good to take it to a little different area. Breathing into the left outer hip. Elongating the spine, opening pathways into the hips, into the legs. And then gently release the hands. Take your arms out to the side. Cross your left leg over your right and tip your legs over to the right side. Situate yourself so that you have your right hip towards the floor. Right side of the hip. Twisting in towards the left, lower back area, hip area, as we're squeezing the midline, as we're squeezing the adductors. Few more breaths right here. Not checking in how it feels in the hips, in the belly. And then gently take it all the way back up. Feet to the floor. Take your knees into the chest. Hug your knees all the way in. And from here, we're going to roll over to the side and come up onto all fours, please. Spread your fingers nice and wide and take your knees and your hips and stack them above and below each other. And we'll do our cat-cow, arching the spine up to the sky. And exhaling, concaving, and bringing it all the way back in. And exhaling. And one more time, inhale, exhale, move the breath around so it feels like it reaches all the areas for you. And then exhale, come into a neutral spine, plugging the upper arm bones in, tuck the toes, and come into downward facing dog, pedaling into the back of the heels. Moving about into the legs, into the ankles. And then we'll find a nice spot where we can take 3 nice deep breaths into your downward facing dog. Whether you move your feet in or if you move your feet further out, taking it to where it feels really nice and elongation for your muscles on the back of the legs. One more breath. And gently take your feet to the hands. Step forward, hop forward. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold. Take your hands to the hips, elbows to sky. Press the feet. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. And release the hands. Turn your palms up, arms up to the sky. Take a crescent over to the left side. Stretch in towards the right side of the waist. And switch to the second side. Take yourself over to the right side. Nice. And take it back up. Take the hands down. Step your right foot behind your left and bend your left knee. Take your right arm all the way up and we'll come over to one more crescent with your left hand holding on to that right wrist. You might even tilt a little bit over towards the right side. And gently taking it back up, hands down for balance, and then step your feet back together. That works the best for me. Sometimes if we try to do everything at the same time, body kind of loses the balance in the midline. Left arm up, so the left leg is behind the right leg. Bend your right knee, take your right hand around your left wrist and give a nice big crescent to the side. Nice. And exhale, take it all the way back up. Hands all the way down, hug the midline, and then step your feet together. Hands to the hips. Bend your knees, take a step or a hop, feet wide apart. Take your hands all the way out to the side. Inhale and exhale, hands to the hips. Take the gaze up towards the sky and hinge and fold to feet wide apart pose. Take your hands and plug your hips back by just kind of pressing the hands into the top of the femurs and give your lower back a little space, and then take the hands towards the floor. So here we are with the hands on the floor and the feet are wide apart, wingspan wide apart. Take your right elbow in towards your right knee and give yourself just like a little broadening in towards the adductors, in towards the deeper layers of the inner thighs, and then left elbow to your left knee. Feet can be down for now. I'm going to try a couple of different variants, and then take it up and over with your elbow again into the right knee. This time flip your left toes up to the sky. Nice, and bring it all the way up and over, and take your right toes up to the sky. And a few more breaths right here, and then we'll take it all the way up. This time we'll take the right elbow back to the inside of the right knee, flip your left toes up and the heel is down, and then flip yourself over to the right side. Left knee to the floor, left hand out to the side, big wide open low lunge twist. Lift your right arm up, plug your shoulder blades on the back. Take the gaze up, open wide into the torso. Moving the energy and the front of the side of the waist. And exhale, release, hands to the floor. And then turn yourself back towards the right elbow into the right adductors, inner thigh, and come over towards the second side. Toes up, heel down. And take yourself towards the left side, right knee to the floor, right hand out to the side, taking your left arm up, bring your shoulder blades onto the back and lift it all the way up and back and up and back. Breathing, softening, and exhale, take it all the way back down, and take your left elbow in towards your thigh, and then we'll come back to feet wide apart. Fingers to the floor, bend into your knees and give yourself a couple of big wide cat-cows in towards the spine. Arching the spine, concaving the spine, moving the energy through the back body. One more time. Inhaling, exhaling, and slowly coming back with your neutral spine, hands to the floor, step it back, take downward facing dog. And another breath right here. Pressing into the palms, lifting side body long. Step your feet over to your hands. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold, bend into the knees. Take your hands onto your sacrum. Interlace your hands. Roll the shoulders up and back. And fold forward. You might be here with your hands hanging out on your sacrum. You might take your arms up towards the sky. Top of the head towards the floor. You might take your elbows and let your arms be on the back. Move a little bit side to side. Breathing. And exhale, hands to sacrum and hands to the floor. Inhale, long spine. And from here, take your feet all the way together. We're going to move into some crescent standing poses. Step your left foot back and take your hands to your hips. From your hips, ground down into your legs and into your feet. Even though the back foot is flipped up, we still can feel all the four corners of the back foot and sinking nice and deep. Release the hands. Bring your arms out to the side and take your hands like cactus. Bring the shoulder blades down on the back. And turn your palms towards the back like a slight tilting. Lift the heart, the chest, and then take your arms up towards the sky and lifting it all the way up. The gaze can be forward, the gaze can be up. And take it back down into cactus arms, and then exhale, step it all the way back and step it forward into forward fold, Uttanasana. And step your right foot back, please. And take your hands to your hips, summing all the energy into the midline and lifting up into hands to hips. Come up high into your back crescent toes, bend your front knee and release the hands. Inhale, take the arms out to the side, bend your elbows, cactus pose with your arms, lift your heart, your chest, your lungs, and take your arms slightly back. Open up into the front body, taking your arms up towards the sky, lifting nice and wide up. The palms can be forward, a nice different variant for your shoulders. There's Kali. And exhale, release, hands back down to cactus and all the way back down. Step it forward for forward fold, Uttanasana. And hands to hips, elbows to sky. Come all the way up to standing and release the hands down to the side. Bring your feet together. Hold on to a wall or something if you needed to. We're going to start with tree pose on the right side. So either maybe your tree pose is down here, kickstanding, maybe it's up somewhere around the leg, supporting around the knee, or taking your foot to the inside of your left adductors. Engage the muscles on the left leg, strongly on the right leg. Push your foot and your muscles into each other. Hands can be on the hips, or hands can come to the heart, wherever they feel like a good place to be. You might take your hands either up over your head and grow your tree nice and tall and long. Tailbone down, lower belly supports in towards the front of the spine, down into the leg. And exhale, release hands to the heart. Hug your right knee in and then sending it back down to the floor. Take a pause and take your left foot up to the inside of your right thigh. Press your foot into the muscles of the adductors, hugging strongly in. Take your hands to the heart. Give yourself a breath. Firmly pull the lower belly in. That will send a nice signal down to the leg, tailbone down. And sweep the arms up towards the sky. Breathing. Take a few pauses right here, feeling connected to all layers of the body. And then exhale, bring it all the way back down, hands to heart. And take your left knee in towards the chest and send it back down to the floor. Nice. Come to the front of the mat and sweep the arms all the way forward, palms together. And then we'll stay in right here, lifting the arms up and up and up. Grow super tall in the legs and the feet down to the earth, and super tall from the hips, torso, shoulders, up the arms and fingers. And exhale, release, hands to the floor. And we'll remember those arms and hands, hinge and fold. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, place your hands, step back, down dog. Roll forward to plank pose. Take a pause in plank. Give yourself a few moments here to pull the lower belly in, plug everything into the midline, and then take your knees to the floor, Ashtangasana, chest and chin to the floor. Articulation in towards the spine. Give yourself a few pauses right here, and inhale into cobra. Inner shoulder to outer shoulder. And exhale, come all the way down to the belly to rearrange and come with your forearms to the floor. Take your left forearm and take it parallel to your mat. Right hand into your right foot. Press your hand and your foot into each other. Getting some good awareness in towards the quads, lifting the lower belly at the same time. Press your hand and your foot into each other for more muscle engagement. And exhale, release. Switching sides, take your right forearm parallel to your mat, left hand inside your left foot for an open shoulder so the thumb is facing up. Press your hand and your foot into each other. Lifting nice and tall. And we're just creating this nice big arch. Lots of muscles hugging into the midline. Skin to muscle, muscle to bone. Exhale, release. Take it all the way back down. And we'll do one more cobra from here. Inhale, long spine. Extend out through the legs. And exhale. Take it all the way back down. Push back, child's pose. Big toes together, knees apart. Breathing, moving energy through all parts of the body. And gently come all the way up. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Step your right foot between your hands. Take your left foot flat on the floor. Grow nice and strong down from the hips all the way in towards the legs and the feet, into the heart of earth. Lots of energy to pulsate down and up and through our body. Take your right hip back and pull your left hip forward and release the hands. Inhale, take your arms up and take them forward, maybe palms together, maybe palms apart, depending on how it feels for the shoulder. First warrior pose, Virabhadrasana 1. Push strongly into the back leg and you'll feel a nice big opening through your left hip flexor, through the adductors, plugging into the knees, clearing energy. And exhale, release, hands to the floor. Step it all the way back, downward facing dog. And step your left foot between the hands. And we'll take a turn for the left side in warrior pose. Super empowerment pose where we just feel nice and steady into all parts, hands to hips. Squaring off your front thigh with your yoga mat, pulling the left hip back and the right hip forward. Release the arms, take your palms forward and up and slightly in front of your nose and your head, and then from that cactus pose we had earlier, we want to lift up and back into that. Shoulder blades are holding us, left hip back, right hip forward, squaring off our hips, pushing into the back leg, pushing into the front leg, and then exchanging energy at the same time through all the layers of the body. Skin to muscle, muscle to bone. Exhale, release, hands to the floor. Step it all the way back. Downward facing dog. Come to your hands and knees, tabletop please. Take your right leg up to the sky. Let's take it to the horizon. But the hamstrings are up towards the sky. And we'll just leave it right there for a moment. Take your right toes and cross it over to the left side and bring it back up. Just center. Just like a way of squeezing into the midline. We'll do it 5 times to make some memories for the hamstrings, for the adductors to be with us. And then switch sides. Take your left leg up to the horizon. You can have your right toes tucked under for the comfort of the knee. And then from here, wrap the front side in towards the midline for security and for stability. Take your left toes to the right side, tip them down and lift them back up. And down, and lift them back up. And down, and lift them back up. And again, we'll do it one more time. Take them back down, squeeze midline and lift it up and take it all the way back down. Nice, downward facing dog please. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Step your one foot between your hands. So we come into straddle pose, into feet wide apart pose, toes slightly tucked in, and hands to the floor. And just kind of grounding here, hands and feet all the way together. Just kind of giving a little exchange of energy through all parts, through all the nerve endings in our hands and in our feet. We'll take a breath into that and just summon some good stability into the midline. From here, hands to hips, and come all the way up to standing. We're going to take our way through warrior three, warrior poses. How about that? We'll start with warrior two by taking our right heel in and then knee over the ankle. Take the arms out to the side. Virabhadrasana 2, palms facing down. If you've done yoga with me, we've been here many times before. If this is your first time, open your right leg and your right hip, so the knee and the ankle is stacked, and your left leg elongates out to the back and the foot is flat on the floor. And we have to hug the midline really strongly to get engagement into the adductors, into the layers on the inside of the leg, the medial side of the leg. Arms out to the side, just a nice, big, strong warrior two pose. And building some nice awareness in the legs, some pathways, moving energy through the legs. And if we're pairing this practice with the Kidney Yin Yoga, then this would be a good way to also do it in a Yang way, in a nice, strong, muscly way of engaging the Kidney Meridian. It runs adductors, it runs side of the body through the throat, so we get a nice turn onto the neck. Take your left arm forward and come into our crescent with your arms forward, same side. So now we turn the hips over, framing over, shoulders and hips are stacked. And take your left foot flat on the floor. Take your palms together and inhale, lift it up for warrior one. Giving ourselves a nice big breath here, full power through all the layers. Exhale, release, touch the earth. Come up onto your back toes and give yourself a little kick. Step it up into a warrior three pose with your toes down and you heel up, just like when we were in our all fours tabletop and lifted the back leg. Bend your supporting leg. Knee down, toes down, quad down, hamstrings are facing up. Pull the lower belly in, tailbone is strongly holding into the midline as well. Hands can come to the hips or hands can come forward into a warrior three with palms together. Give yourself a few breaths right here and exhale, release, hands to the floor. Step your left leg back and come all the way to downward facing dog, please. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Excellent job. 3 warrior poses checked off on the right side. The right leg should feel vibrant. Take your right foot between the hands if you're turning the same direction back as where you came from, or just step 1 foot between the hands for feet wide apart. And we'll take another pause right here with hands and feet on the floor, grounding the energies. Another breath right here. And then take your hands to the hips, bend into your knees and come up to standing. Take your left heel in and widen out your arms. Take warrior 2. Your front heel goes into the arch of your right foot. Stand nice and elongated in the spine. Knee and ankle are stacked on your left leg. Toning into all 4 corners of the feet. Hugging skin to muscle, muscle to bone, arms out to the side, engaging the flow in the legs of energy, side of the body, shoulders, armpits, arms, fingers, and the neck, our voice, our breath. 1 more breath right here. And then gently take your right arm and over towards the left side. Come up into a crescent lunge with your arms up. We'll start right here. Maybe you'll stay here onto your back toes. Maybe it works to put your right foot down, palms together, lifting up into a warrior three pose. Plug your left hip back, your right hip forward, sink nice and deep. Give yourself a few breaths right here. And exhale, release hands to the floor. Step it up into warrior three with your right leg up to the horizon and your left foot stabilizing all four corners of your standing foot, bending into the knee to have that nice clear line of energy from your hip through your knee, through your ankle, all four corners of your foot. Right toes down, heel up, hips facing down. Take your hands to your hips and elongate your right leg. Sweep your arms forward, maybe, and take your full flight in warrior three. Breathing, softening at the same time, and standing strong. It's like a full flow of exchange of energy. Exhale, release hands to the floor. Take your right foot back, step back into downward facing dog. And let's come over to plank pose. Lower to knees, chest and chin for Ashtangasana. Untying any knots in the spine, clearing the throat, opening pathways. And inhale into Cobra. Inner shoulder to outer shoulder, stretching the legs back. Breathing, softening. And exhale, come into Child's Pose. Closing up our practice with the Child's Pose, where we get to hug the femurs in towards the socket and releasing into the lower back. We'll take 3 breaths here, stretching your arms forward. And gently come all the way back up and come into a forward fold standing Uttanasana with feet wide apart. You can have them out hip widths apart and bending into the knees. Have your hips and ankles stacked. If the hands are more comfortable on blocks or on the floor, then use that. If your hands are okay by taking the elbows, then take the elbows. Move some energy in the lower back, in the whole spine, and then neck. And slowly release and come and take a comfortable seat, please. Take your blanket or a block or a pillow to sit on, or just simply sit. Crossing the legs, please. Hands to knees. And we'll just sit nice and comfortable. Just kind of let the energies settle down around us, and then we'll have a forward fold together before we close our practice down. So let's, from here, take your right foot forward and your left foot comes in towards the seat. So there's like a diamond shape on your right leg, and it's a happy pose on your left leg. So one is tucked in, one is extended more out. Both legs are bent. Hands forward, and we might stay right here and support ourselves. And you might feel something going on in the lower back area, or maybe you feel super comfortable and you want to come down onto your forearms. You might come down with your head, relaxing everything down. And slowly making your way back up and switching sides to the second side. Take your left leg forward and your right leg hugs in, and hands comes forward and support, and check and see how it feels on the left side. Maybe it feels good to take the forearms down, and maybe it feels good to relax the head down. And gently release the hands, support yourself, come back up and open the legs for Uttanasana. And we'll give ourselves a couple of nice big side crescents, side to side, and letting the energy flow out from the hips through the legs after we released some in our forward fold pigeon seated variant. We'll just come back and forth a few times, opening side to side, like a nice big windmill, or painting a rainbow, however you like to think of your sweeping arm. Really want to just get into the spaces of the side of the body and make sure that everything is nicely released. Come back up to center, hands underneath your knees, and come into cross-legged seated comfortable pose, hands to knees, and we'll just savor all that new turned and churned energy and sitting nice and tall on the sit bones and letting everything find its place to be, whether we are releasing some old stagnant energy and letting in some new vibrant energy, or if we're just simply sitting and being comfortable, savoring all the energies that got moved around. Taking 3 nice breaths together after those 3 powerful standing warrior poses. And gently taking the hands to the heart, closing our practice together by joining our palms and kind of having another way of circulating energy through the whole upper body. And whether we did this practice for our Kidney Meridian paired up with our Yin Yoga practice, or if we did this for just for the fun of doing warrior poses, it sure has an amazing benefit for all layers of our bodies. So I thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next class. And we are going to take an Om together to close our practice, and then we'll take Shavasana together to make sure everything gets to soak into its right place in our body. Let's take an Om to close our practice. Inhale. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And let's take Shavasana together, and I'll meet you in the next practice. Hit subscribe if you haven't done yet, and that way you know that you'll get a notification for the next upcoming yoga practice for us. Take your palms out to the side, press your head down, adjust your shoulder blades, and maybe you put a cozy blanket on, or socks, or eye pillows, or a sweater, anything over the eyes. Make yourself as comfortable as you'd like to be when you take your Shavasana resting pose, where all poses blend into one. We do all our poses in yoga so that we can have a comfortable seat and so that we can have a comfortable, relaxing exchange of energy in Shavasana. Enjoy your rest.